together. Try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, our hometown station.
That's right.
AM
I'll tell you
1220.
what, whenever I'm anywhere where this works, I always have AM 1220 on, because not only do they have great music and great shows like ours,
Yeah.
you know, and the Real Side and all the other ones, but not only do they have great shows, but boy, if you want to know what's going on in Santa Clarita, that's the ticket to knowing.
Yeah, get plugged into their website, their app, get on their emailing list. You'll get all the stuff, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
What I love about it is that it's it has our community, you know, and these guys are local, they're in the community, and it's all it's personal.
If you want to know what's going on in your home right here in Santa Clarita, this is a way to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. So already school's coming back, Cary. Couple weeks, right?
You know,
a couple weeks.
I was talking to someone about our adolescence, which is it's the same thing every year. You know, we're right now, our census, meaning how many patients we serve, is extremely high, especially for summer. Adolescence is a little low, but it's like that every year, because if we don't see it, it's not happening.
Yeah, what happens is...
You know what that means.
Yeah, the kids get out of school at the beginning of summer, and our lives don't change as parents and adults. We're still going to work every day, except that they got all day long for free time.
And we still see them,
right?
10 minutes.
Same. Nothing changes at home, right? Except that they're out doing their thing.
Actually, for some families, they're not even seeing their kids. They're sleeping out. They're not around.
Yeah. Summer, doing summer stuff. But when they're in school, there's a lot more opportunity for people to be interactive, adults to be interactive with them. So they can see if a kid shows up to school and he's been using drugs or drinking or something, or they can see if something's not right very, very quickly. But we as parents can go all summer long without even noticing that something's wrong with our parents.
Right.
Our kids.
But it all changes.
Yeah.
As soon as school starts.
Right. Well, and for those, especially for those kids who have already started and are kind of, past the point where they can reel it back in, school starts up and they're still going heavy and strong. They were through the summer, and they can't not show up to school under the influence. You know?
Or they just can't wake up. They miss first period, second period. They're nodding, or they're falling asleep in class. They can't study. All their habits have changed.
Yep.
You know, and it just becomes getting back into that norm is almost impossible for some of those kids.
Yeah, so we see every year, in the next about a month from now, we're going to see a dramatic increase in our adolescent population at both residential and outpatient.
And about a month from now, we will have waiting lists. Every single year to get in residential. Right. Our groups will swell. The outpatients will swell.
Yep. And that's just one of the many issues of teenagers going back to school. You know, my mind always goes to, when we do these back to school shows, I always go to the kids that are transitioning from one school to another, or going from elementary school to junior high school, going from junior high school to high school, or the transitional age youth going from high school into college.
Let's start.
It's a big jump.
Let's start with elementary school, moving into middle school.
For most kids, very innocent time for most kids, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Sixth grade.
Yeah. Well, elementary school, I mean, they're innocent still.
But
even though when we just did a couple assemblies for younger kids, didn't we?
Right.
And when we walked into these assemblies and we talked about peer pressure and stuff, and we asked them, how many of you guys know people who ditch school? How many of you guys know people who smoke cigarettes or smoke pot? Almost every hand raised.
Yeah, and that's in 6th and 7th grade. That's right. That's 6th grade. Yeah.
So now we're taking kids that are how old when they go into middle school now?
12, around 12.
12 years old, still real innocent, and they're going into a different world.
Yeah.
They're going into a world where they're going to be faced with many different challenges and choices.
Well, not even talking about a teen issue, but just going from elementary to junior high school. You're talking going from one classroom and one teacher into multiple classrooms and multiple teachers, going from smaller school size to bigger school sizes, So there's just that transition right there can be a little overwhelming to a kid.
All right, what I would do for that, and we'll stay there for a second, is go to school with them before they actually start.
Yeah.
Walk them to the classes. Let them get familiar with the facility.
Yep.
So they know, okay, here's first period, here's second period, so they don't panic. Because I've seen kids actually panic.
That is, that's a tool right there that will serve you well throughout, not just at that age. I remember when I went back to college after,
Right.
I'm not going to say how many years, but a whole bunch of years, right? 20 years or whatever, right? I went, that's what I did, is I went up, I went to COC, I went up there ahead of time and walked the campus.
It's overwhelming if you
know,
don't.
it made it a lot easier for me to go back and see, because I knew where my classes were.
Walk
and
the
stuff.
campus, figure out where the classes are, so they can actually time it right.
Right.
You know, it's pretty scary when you say, okay, where am I going, and you forget.
Right. So, we're going to take a break in a minute here, but another thing about that transition that I think is real important for people to understand: most drug use starts between the ages of 12 and 17.
Yeah.
Most drug use.
So what grade is that's right there, isn't it?
12, 13, 14 years old
and we're
is
talking
where
about those challenges and
yeah.
choices.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I just saw a latest statistic put out by NIDA, and it said between the ages of 12 and 21 years old, 24% have tried an illicit drug between the ages of 12 and 21 years old. 24%. So one quarter of the kids.
One in four kids.
One quarter of those kids in there
Hey,
have tried an illicit drug.
Is that your kid?
Could be anybody's kid,
That's right.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little more and the dangers of that particular age group, 12, 13, 14 years old, and that junior high school, when we come back after this break. This is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS.